Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Freinage Tardif. Today we're going to talk about one of the most epic Grand Prix of Formula One, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Grand Prix that we're going to have this weekend. So I'm going to start by talking a little bit about last year's Canadian Grand Prix. 70 laps of chaos, three different leaders, two safety cars, a track that went from drenched to drying to drenched again and then back. One winner many thought was completely out of it. Was the 2024 Canadian Grand Prix more than just a race? Was it a declaration? A statement that Formula One, when it said its unpredictable best, can still give us a spectacle that leaves you breathless, making you question everything you thought you knew. Lots of people are calling it an instant classic, maybe the modern classic. But the question we're really tackling today is even bigger. Was this the most epic Canadian Grand Prix that we've ever seen? And just as importantly, what does this incredible piece of motorsport mayhem mean for the 2025 race? Well, uh, to look back at a race that truly had it all, the 2024 Canadian Grand Prix at the legendary Circuit Gilles Villeneuve wasn't just a series of overtakes and pit stops. It was an emotional roller coaster, strategic chess match at 200 miles per hour in conditions that would make even a seasoned sailor nervous. We saw Top Dog's challenge, fortunes turn on a dime, and the kind of on-track drama that instantly sparked debate. Where does this race rank among the greatest, especially on Canadian soil? A place already famous for its wild races. Today, we're not just going to relive the madness, though, trust me, we will. We're going to break it down. We'll get into exactly what made the 2024 Canadian Grand Prix so unforgettable, why it's being called a modern classic, and how it compares to the Montreal legends of the past. And even more importantly, we're looking ahead. How does a race this wild, this unpredictable, set the scene for the 2025 Canadian Grand Prix? And can Montreal possibly top that performance? Or, and this is a big thought, could 2025 be even more of a nail biter? So stick with us because we're about to explore it all. All right. To really get a grip on what went down, let's rewind to that weekend in June 2024. The Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, a track already known for its flat-out straights, tough braking zones, and the ever-present Wall of Champions, was about to give us a race that would go down in Formula One history. The buzz leading up to it was huge. The championship picture, well, Red Bull and Max Verstappen were still the ones to beat, but McLaren and the resurgent Mercedes were definitely snapping at their heels, and Ferrari was looking to bounce back. But really, it was the weather gods who decided to steal the show. Race day started under some seriously threatening skies. The track was damp, a greasy, slippery ribbon of asphalt that was going to push driver skill to the absolute max. Qualifying itself had already served up some surprises. George Russell, he grabbed a brilliant pole for Mercedes. His lap time was identical to Max Verstappen's, but he got the top spot because he set his time first. Lando Norris, he was lurking right behind them. It was all set for a classic. Then the lights went out and the spray just flew. Russell held his lead, uh, handling those treacherous opening laps with a mix of pinpoint um, accuracy and pure guts. That early part of the race was a great example of wet weather driving from the front guys. They were all feeling for grip, tiptoeing throughout the corners, where one tiny mistake meant a nasty meeting with the barriers. The Haas cars, by the way, they took a big gamble on full wet tires early on, and it paid off, with Kevin Magnussen just carving his way up the field, showing everyone just how tricky those conditions really were. But as a hesitant dry line started to appear, the drivers on intermediates began to find the groove. And there was one guy, Lando Norris, seemed to have an almost sixth sense for the changing track. Around lap 20, the McLaren driver was just on another planet. He first picked off Max Verstappen with a clean move, and then just a lap later, he hunted down and passed George Russell for the lead with a seriously bold overtake into the final chicane. Norris he started to pull away, building a hefty lead, making it almost easy, while others were clearly struggling. It really felt like it was his race for the taking. Then, classic Canadian Grand Prix chaos hits, as it so often does. Logan Sargent, he hits the wall. It brings out the first safety car. And this is where things got really unlucky for Norris. His massive lead, it was gone, vanished. He'd passed the pit entry just before the safety car came out, meaning he couldn't dive in for fresh tires straight away, while Verstappen and Russell, right behind him, they could. When Norris did pit a lap later, he dropped back. A potential race win just snatched away in an instant. That was pure Montreal, a track that gives and takes, but there is no messing around. Verstappen, always the opportunist, he found himself in the lead. The race then moved into a really gripping phase as the track kept drying. Teams and drivers had a massive decision to make. When do you risk switching to slicks? If you go too early and you're sliding everywhere. If you go too late, you lose a ton of time. Verstappen and Russell made the jump around lap 46. Norris stayed out a couple of laps longer. A gamble to try and get ahead with an overcut, but it didn't quite work out. Though he did manage to sneak back past Russell for a bit once his slicks were warmed up. Just when he thought the drama might be coming down, the skies, they open up again. Not a downpour, but enough rain to make those slicks feel like they were on an ice rink. This was now a massive test of car control. And with all that uncertainty came more incidents. Carlos Sainz, who was having a terrible weekend for Ferrari after their highs in Monaco, he spun, and unfortunately, he collected Alex Albon. Out came the second safety car, and this bunched the field right up again, setting things up for a final. Heart-stopping sprint to the finish line. Throughout all of this, Ferrari's weekend was just a total nightmare. Charles Leclerc would start it further back, was struggling with an engine problem pretty much from the get-go, losing him a lot of lap time before he eventually had to retire. Sainz, he spins. He just made things worse for Ferrari. For a team that had shown so much promise, it was a weekend they want to forget fast, really showing how quickly things can change in Formula One, and especially in Montreal. In those final laps, with the track drying out again, Verstappen, it showed everyone why he's a champion. He managed the gap perfectly, soaking up huge pressure. Behind him, the fight for the podium was absolutely fierce. Lando Norris, even after his bad luck earlier, fought like a lion to grab second place. But the real fireworks were between the two Mercedes drivers, George Russell, Lewis Hamilton. They had this amazing late race battle, with Russell eventually coming out on top for the final podium spot after some pretty full-on wheel-to-wheel racing. Oscar Piastri was right in there too, making it a fantastic multi-car scrap for those top spots. We had multiple lead changes, strategy calls that could win or lose a race, moments of pure brilliance, heartbreaking bad luck, and the constant threat of the weather. The 2024 Canadian Grand Prix wasn't just dramatic, it was drama. It was a race that reminded every single one of us why we love this sport. But was it just a great race? Or was it something even more special? Was 2024 a modern classic? Well, so the dust settled, the champagne was sprayed, but the chat was only just getting started. Right after the 2024 Canadian Grand Prix, fans, experts, even the drivers themselves were all buzzing. Was this, like so many were saying, a modern classic? Um, an automatic entry to the F1 history books? Let's really get into this. What makes a Grand Prix a classic anyway? Is it unpredictability? Check. Uh, 2024 Canadian Grand Prix had that by the bucket load. The weather chopping and changing all the time, from wet to winters to nearly dry track, then back to light rain, and then dry again. Look, that meant no team or driver could ever relax. Strategy calls were being made on the fly, with everyone guessing a bit, turning the pit wall into a high-stakes poker game. Those two safety car periods, they shuffled the pack even more, meaning any lead was always fragile, always at risk. It was impossible to say for sure who would win, or even who would be on the podium until the very last laps. Driver skill and yet driver mistakes were on full show. Max Verstappen win was proof of his amazing racecraft and his ability to deliver under huge pressure. Even with Red Bull admitting after the race he was nursing a suspension issue, he grabbed his chances, managed his tires throughout all those changing conditions, and he kept a cool head when others were losing theirs. Lando Norris, he puts in a stunning performance, especially that charge to the lead on intermediates. His pace was mind-blowing, and if it wasn't for the timing of that first safety car, he could very well have won. You could see his frustration, but his talent was undeniable. George Russell from pole, he led really well in the early wet conditions, had his own share of ups and downs with pit stops and on-track fights, but he battled back hard to grab some well-earned podium. including some thrilling late overtakes. Lewis Hamilton too. He showed flashes of his old self, especially when he was chasing a podium, getting into a great scrap with his teammate. And then there were those moments of struggle that really showed how tricky things were. Ferrari's problems with the Leclerc engine issue and Sainz spin proved how even the top teams and drivers could get caught out. These weren't just tiny mistakes, they were race changing moments for the Scuderia, really hammering home how tough it is to drive the Montreal circuit in weather like that. The strategy side of things was like a high speed chess match. When do you pit for inters? When do you take a chance on slicks? Do you stay out under a safety car? Do you dive in? Every single decision could mean gaining or losing a handful of places. Teams like As, they cashed in early with a wet tire gamble, while the top teams had to constantly rethink their plans. The timing of Norris' first pit stop and that safety car was a massive turning point, a moment of pure bad luck with strategy that completely swung the race. And what about the actual racing? Away from the leaders, the midfield was buzzing with action. There were overtakes happening all over the place, cars battling wheel to wheel, not just in the DRS zones, but throughout really tricky sequences of corners. The Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, with its heavy braking zones and fast flowing bits, has always been great for racing. But the 2024 conditions just cranked that just up a notch, rewarding drivers who were brave and precise. Crucially, this race wasn't just Red Bull running away with it. While Verstappen did win in the end, McLaren and Mercedes were genuine contenders for the victory at different points. This balance at the front, with three teams properly in the mix, added an extra shot of excitement and unpredictability that we've sometimes missed. It wasn't a done deal from the start. It was a real fight. Now, how does this 2024 thriller compare to the legendary Canadian Grand Prix of the past? There are a few big ones that always come up. Think about 1973, the first unofficial appearance of a safety car in Formula One, and a race that was so confusing with heavy rain and incidents that the winner, Peter Revson, was only confirmed hours after the race was finished. The 2024 race definitely had that same kind of weather-driven chaos and strategy mess, though luckily we knew who won the race much quicker. Both races showed just how fast a track like Montreal can go from being a race to a battle for survival. Then there's 1991, a race Formula One fans will never forget. Nigel Mansell's heartbreaking last lap retirement while he was waving to the crowd, handing the win to Nelson Piquet. That was a different kind of drama, a sudden, shocking twist right at the end. While 2024 didn't have one single moment quite as painful, quite as dramatic as Mansell's, it had drama all the way throughout. A constant back and forth of luck, with several drivers swinging from potential glory to new disaster and back again. The lead changes in 2024, the safety cars, that was its own kind of last lap tension, just spread over 70 laps. But the ultimate comparison for a lot of people, is the 2011 Canadian Grand Prix. That race, officially the longest in Formula One history, lasting over 4 hours, was just an epic of unbelievable scale. Pouring rain, multiple red flags, Jensen Button beating 6 times, dropping to last, and then sensationally passing Sebastian Vettel on the very last lap to win. It's rightly seen as one of the wildest, if not the wildest, modern Formula One races. Did 2024 reach those 2011 levels of pure craziness? Maybe not, in terms of how long it lasted or how many pit stops the winner made. But you could argue that 2024 packed an even more intense, concentrated burst of action into its normal race distance. The fight at the front in 2024 was arguably tighter between more teams. While Button's 2011 win was an amazing solo effort, 2024 saw Verstappen, Norris, uh, and Russell all having real shots at the winning. Trading punches, track position all race long. The weather in 2024 wasn't a constant downpour like parts of 2011. It was the on-off nature of it, the constant switching between wet, drying, damp, uh, that made it so uniquely tough and strategically fascinating. What perhaps makes 2024 Canadian Grand Prix really stand out, even next to these giants, is that sustained three-way fight for the lead between different teams in such tough and changing conditions. It wasn't just one driver battling the weather or one team miles ahead. It was a dynamic, complex race where driver skill, strategy, and a bit of luck all played huge parts in an almost perfect mix. Red Bull's supposed dominance was generally challenged, and McLaren and Mercedes, they proved they were right there ready to pounce. Of course, you could play devil's advocate. Some might say the conditions were too chaotic, that it was more of a lottery. Others might point to races with bigger championship deciders on the final lap. But if you're measuring a classic by pure entertainment, uh, unpredictability, incredible displays of driving skill under extreme pressure, and a story full of twists and turns, then the 2024 Canadian Grand Prix doesn't just tick the boxes, it absolutely smashes them. It wasn't just a race that was won, it was a race that was survived and conquered. It showed off everything that makes Formula One so addictive: the speed, the skill, the strategy, the human drama, and the raw, untamable power of nature throwing a wrench in the works. It delivered on the promise of close racing and gave fans a spectacle that had them on the edge of their seats from start to finish. So, was it a modern classic? The, the evidence is pretty overwhelming. The stories are incredible. The on-track action speaks for itself. The 2024 Canadian Grand Prix wasn't just another race, it was a statement. It was a roaring, tire squealing, rain-soaked confirmation of why Montreal has such a special place in the hearts of F1 fans. It has, no doubt about it, earned its spot in the conversation, not just as one of the best races of the season, but as one of the truly great Canadian Grand Prix of all time. So, we've relived the chaos, we picked apart the drama, and we made the case. 2024 Canadian Grand Prix, without a doubt, an epic, a modern classic that people will be talking about for years. the sheer unpredictability, uh, all those lead changes, the amazing drives, and that ever-present threat of the Wall of Champions. It all came together to create a motorsport masterpiece. But the big question now is, what's next? How does a race as huge as 2024 set things for the 2025 Canadian Grand Prix? If anything, Montreal's legend, its reputation as a place where chaos reigns, has only got bigger. The bar for excitement has been set incredibly high. The Circuit Gilles Villeneuve itself, it's basically a main character in this story. It's not some sterile, purpose-built track. It's a temporary street circuit carved out of the man-made Notre Dame. Uh, and it's got a unique soul. Its layout is just made for excitement. Long straights that demand low drag, immediately followed by heavy braking zones and tight chicanes like turn 1 and 2, turn 3 and 4, and of course the infamous final chicane at turns 13 and 14. This section punishes brakes, really tests how responsive a car is, and offer up prime overtaking spots, especially into the hairpin, the turn 10, and that final chicane. The track surface, while generally pretty smooth, can still cause high tire wear, adding another layer to the strategy game. And then there's the Wall of Champions at the exit of the last chicane. It's more than just a concrete wall. It's like a monument to ambition, getting the better of grip, a place where even champions like Michael Schumacher, Damon Hill, Jacques Villeneuve have famously left their mark. It's always in the back of every driver's mind. Historically, the Canadian Grand Prix has a high chance of seeing a safety car. Some say around two, some say around two-thirds of the races feature one. After 2024, you have to be brave to bet against that happening again, or even more often. This track just breeds incidents. It encourages drivers to be brave, sometimes a bit too brave. Looking ahead to the next weekend, what lessons did teams and drivers take away from the wild ride of 2024? First off, an even bigger respect for Montreal, crazy microclimate. The 2024 race was a sharp reminder that forecasts can change in a heartbeat, and being able to switch up your strategy on the fly to deal with changing conditions is absolutely key. Teams will likely show up with even better weather tracking advices and maybe some more aggressive backup plans. Nobody's going to underestimate the power of a sudden shower or the challenge of a track that's drying out super quickly. Secondly, while getting a good spot in qualifying is still important, 2024 proved that your grid position is only part of the story. Being adaptable and having great racecraft in mixed conditions can easily beat pure starting speed. Drivers who shine when things get tricky, who can just feel the grip levels. It will always fancy their chances here. Just think of Norris' incredible stint on intermediates in 2024. That was all down to the driver field. Thirdly, there's the mental game. Drivers who did well in 2024, Chaos, Verstappen, Norris, Russell, they will come back feeling more confident, knowing they can handle this track at its toughest. Um, on the flip side, those from whom 2024 was a disaster, like Carlos Sainz, like Charles Leclerc, they will be desperate to turn things around, adding an extra bit of pressure and determination. Um, what new things can make this 2025 Canadian Grand Prix even more unpredictable? Well, this season is set to be the last of the current rules before they get a major technical shakeup in 2026. This often means car performance naturally gets closer as teams squeeze every last bit out of the existing regulations. Um, if the trend we saw in late 2024 and in the last couple of races, we know that McLaren is on top. Uh, Ferrari and Mercedes, they are even nearer to Red Bull, potentially giving us uh, a four-way fight for wins on any given weekend. More teams in the hunt means more things can happen, more chances for upsets, and more wheel-to-wheel battling. Uh, we know Lewis Hamilton uh, is trying to make his move to Ferrari historic. Um, is he until now not settling in very well? Um, how is that the dynamic with Charles Leclerc working out, especially at the track that asks so much and can really ramp up the tension? Plus, there's a wave of exciting rookie talents on the grid. Names like Kimi Antonelli at Mercedes, Ollie Bierman at Haas, Liam Lawson. Um, they are young, they are hungry drivers, keen to prove themselves on a tough circuit like Montreal. Well, that's a recipe for thrilling and possibly very eventful racing. Uh, the development race between the top teams is fascinating to watch. Um, Red Bull lost a lot of advantage to teams like McLaren. Um, McLaren finished 2024 really strong. They start 2025 stronger. Or there's a resurgent Mercedes is, is starting to swing a little bit in 2025, and that could make it even a tighter scrap at the front. Every team is pushing their 2025 cars to the limit, knowing it's the last shot with this generation of machines before all eyes turn to 2026. Will there be any track changes? We don't think so. Um, while the circuit Gilles Villeneuve layout is legendary and probably won't see any alterations, things like routine resurfacing or small tweaks to curbs or runoff areas can sometimes subtly change how it drives or how drivers attack it. And then there's just the sheer pressure to put another classic show like last year. After the spectacle of 2024, the expectations from fans, from the media, and even inside Formula One itself will be through the roof. Can Montreal do it again? History says it absolutely can. This track just has a knack for creating unforgettable moments. So, what are the burning questions for the 2025 Canadian Grand Prix? Can we expect similar weather lottery? Given it's June, the chance of rain is always there in Montreal. And 2024 will have every team boss nervously checking the forecast. Which teams and drivers are the best place to cash in if chaos hits? Verstappen has proven he can. Norris he starts to master the rain, to master the wet a little bit more. Russell, he showed up his quality. Piastri is on the rise, but who else might step up? Maybe Lewis Hamilton looking to make a mark in red, or one of the fearless rookies. Will the Wall of Champions claim more victims? It's almost a tradition, isn't it? With cars potentially even closer in performance, drivers might be pushing even harder, taking more risks to find that vital tenth of a second. And the biggest question of them all, could the 2025 Canadian Grand Prix possibly beat the drama of 2024? That sounds like a massive ask, but if any circuit on the calendar has the history for producing the unexpected, it's this one. When it comes to predicting Montreal 2025, maybe the only safe bet is expect the unexpected. Except close racing, expect bold strategies, expect weather to have its say, and definitely expect some surprises. Drivers known for their amazing car control in tricky conditions, those who can think on their feet from the cockpit, and those who aren't afraid of a wheel-to-wheel fight will likely be the ones to keep an eye on. The chance of a wide open race, maybe with a surprise winner or an underdog on the podium, feels higher here than at any other tracks. The 2024 Canadian Grand Prix wasn't just a race; it was a pure shot of adrenaline for Formula One. It reminded everyone of the magic that happens when talented drivers, incredible machines, a tough circuit, and unpredictable weather, they all smash together. But as we look towards this weekend, Montreal doesn't just bring the promise of another Grand Prix, it brings the expectation of another epic chapter in its amazing history. The stage is set, the ghost of champions past, and the echoes of 2024 unbelievable drama. We'll all be there, so get ready for another wild one. So it was an incredible trip down memory lane, revisiting the 2024 Canadian Grand Prix and looking ahead to what 2025 might have in store. But now, I really want to hear from you. What are your standout memories from that insane 2024 race in Montreal? Was it Lando's charge? Was it Max resilience? Was it that Mercedes scrap? Do you agree that 2024 Canadian Grand Prix deserves to be called one of the greatest Formula One races ever on Canadian soil? A true modern classic? Where does it rank on your personal list of epic races? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. And looking ahead to 2025, are your early predictions for the Canadian Grand Prix? Who are you tipping for glory? Which drivers do you reckon will shine if things get chaotic and you might be making friends with the Wall of Champions. Share your boldest predictions. If you've enjoyed this breakdown and preview, please do me a huge favor and hit that like button. It really helps the channel out. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future F1 content. We'll be bringing you more race reviews, previews, and in-depth chats throughout the season. Our next video will be of the 2025 Montréal Grand Prix. Voilà. The 2024 Canadian Grand Prix, it really set the bar sky high for drama and excitement. It was a race that had everything a Formula One fan could possibly ask for, and instantly it wrote itself into the amazing history of this legendary event. As we turn our attention to the 2025 Canadian Grand Prix, you can just feel the anticipation building. Montréal, with its unique vibe, its super passionate fans, and its almost magical ability to cook up motorsport drama, is all set to give us another weekend we don't forget. Will 2025 live up to the massive legend of the race before it? Will it carve out its own unique story of triumph and heartbreak? Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve very rarely disappoints. It's a place where heroes are made, champions are really tested, and where the unexpected is always just around the next corner, or maybe just waiting the next rain cloud. The 2025 Canadian Grand Prix isn't just a race we're looking forward to, it's a full-blown event. And we'll be right here to cover every single moment. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon in our next Freinage Tardif video. Thank you very much. Bye bye.